Good morning, everyone. I heard it took a little bit longer downstairs, but I'm very happy that you are here now with us about talking about product market fit. If you come to the first row or to the second row, you get a book, just that you know that. There are books out there, but you can also get one over there. I'd like to start first with a quick introduction about myself. Later on, I also will introduce Joel. My name is Michael Sauter. I'm project leader at the BKB, but also co-founder of the PMF factory and also working as a managing director for our venture. And finally, my last job is also I'm head of Scale-Up Booster at Deep Tech Nation. So what is the structure of this session today? First of all, I would like to welcome and thank the BKB for making this possible. Then I will do a quick introduction into PMF. Then we have the discussion with Joel. I'm very happy that you are here now. And finally, also a Q&A session. But I would like to start with a first question. Who thinks product market fit is important to a startup? Who would say so? Who would say product market fit is super important? It's the only thing that matters. Also, you can go home. You got everything. Sorry about to say. But who would say that he has a clear definition in mind what product market fit really is for his business? Who would say so? A clear definition? Nobody? You need to have one, huh? He's one of our participants at the Growth Academy. So you see, everybody's talking about product market fit, but it's not an easy topic, not easy to grab. And this we want to change today, during this session here. Good morning, Heiko.
Good morning.
How are you?
Excited to learn
But you know already everything, huh? Good. All right, I will do an introduction into the topic. We agree on all on that. The American knows that. Product market fit is the only thing that matters. This is the job of an entrepreneur. The first and most important job is to achieve product market fit. So why is it so important? Well, it's pretty easy to find the first customer, to convince the first customer, or a couple of customers. We always find someone who we can convince that he needs this product. That's possible. But later on, it's super important that we achieve some sort of acceleration. And this is what product market fit is about. You create something, the market likes it even more, people are talking about, and they start to pull it. And why is this so important? You need this acceleration. Otherwise, your sales will be too costly and too exhausting. So product market is key for accelerating the business. But somehow it's gray here. It's not easy to understand how we can achieve that. And this is also a thing we have to work on it. Or the famous Y Combinator compares it like that. As long as you're pushing the boulder upwards, you don't have it. It's just hard. Right? You try to convince and go on further and things like that. But as soon as you have achieved this, you're on the top, you feel now the gravity is starting and pulling your rock down, then you are at product market fit. And this should be your strategic goal from day one. It's not just selling. You want to create a pull effect. But don't get me wrong. It's normal that you push in the beginning. That's okay. That's part of the business. But you want to create something which is so important to the customer, they cannot be without it. They talk about, and more demand is increasing. So what is product market fit, finally? There's a definition out of the book. You can see it later on also there. A strong product market fit is when the product solves a problem or satisfies a need so effectively that the market exerts a pull on the product. So it's a change of dynamic. You realize that. Experienced entrepreneurs say, hey, you can feel it when you are there. You get inbounds, you get calls and things like that. So you can feel it. And we have to go for this change of dynamics. So what is the final goal of product market fit? Good morning. So the goal is actually This was not a product market fit so far. Are we okay again? This was the special effect to wake you up a bit. Huh? Sorry about that. But now you're ready, you are here, I guess. So the goal of a strong product market fit is to sell more with less effort. So it means to increase the demand, to create something people need more, with less effort, with reduced customer acquisition costs. That's the goal we want to achieve. So what is now the problem, actually? The problem is we often think we can launch a product, and I had this feeling too as an entrepreneur, I have to say. And then we have launched, we have a product, there's a market, and now we can scale it. The fact is that this time to achieve product market fit, it's often much longer than we expect. And we have to work on that, measure that, question that, until we get with the real feedback from the market. So what do you think? You know Bexio, I guess. You know it very well. How long did it take for them to achieve product market? What do you think? Half a month, 2 months, 3 months, half a year, 1 year? Some guesses from your side. Otherwise, I ask Adrian. If it's nobody is 4 years actually. Huh? So very often it takes longer until we are there. And the only strategy you should do is stay as long as possible lean. You have to work on it, adapt it, and sometimes also external factors have to fall in place. It's not only your product, also the market has maybe to shift a bit. Or you need to have a cooperation which gives you credibility or whatever. So iterate, adapt, work on that, but stay lean. The biggest mistakes, and I did that, I have to say, is so-called premature scaling. You scale too early, and when you do that, and I did that, I had immediately 5 sales reps, and I tried to push my sales. Sales came up a bit, but stalled. So mainly then you scale cost and your problems you have with your product and with your customer. Good. So without product market fit, it's impossible to grow a startup into a successful business. The hard fact is that 80% of the startups never achieve product market fit. 70% are killed due to premature scaling. I talked about that. I did that also. This is my own founder story. And that's hard, especially for startups which have early success. And we did also study with 111 startups and found out that 85% have no clear strategy for product market fit, which means they don't know how to measure it and how to achieve it in a structured way. And that's what we want to change. So, but the truth is, it's not product market fit, it's not really binary. It is somehow, but it's not. It's more a spectrum. You can always increase it to make it better. So you have to work all the time on product market fit. And then normally also startups grow in so-called S-curves. We addressing a segment, we grow there, then we have to adapt to the new segments and things like that. So also there, always work on product market, adapt it, understand the difference of the segment you're addressing. Maybe the messaging you have to adapt, the product is okay, and things like that. And finally, if you go to a new market, what happens then? We need to go for a new product market fit. We had a startup in the Growth Academy, which was mainly working in the Romandie. Very successful, more than 4 million in revenues. They want to enter the Swiss-German part. And he said, hey, that's totally different here. They think different. The conversation is going the other way. And so sometimes you adapt also within Switzerland, but as soon as you go to Germany, it's a different story. Austria, it's again different. So also there, we have to adapt, we have always to find and product market fit again and again. And finally, product market fit is also a moving target. So it's changing over time. The market is changing. There are new competitors enter the market. So also there is change. And you can also lose the product market fit. I experienced that as well. That's pretty frustrating. Before, everything was working very smoothly. It's good. Customers are flocking in, are coming, and then, oh, it's not working anymore. What happened? Happened after COVID to me. Good. So why should every startup have its own product market fit process in place or engine in place? We want to discuss this now with Shuel Singh. Very happy to have you here. And I'm going quickly to introduce you. Shuel is CEO and co-founder of Crosity. He's also a board member at Maximum Cinema, an independent Swiss online film magazine. He's a former actor. Maybe you've seen him at the Bestatter. Do you know this Bestatter thing? You were a Leiche, dead person actually.
I was alive for 40 seconds.
Yeah, only for this. He survived. Yeah, I can imagine. Genau. But he also was an actor at the Schauspielhaus, Casino Theater, and so on. Hey, great to have you here.
Thank you for the invitation, Michael.
Good. Before we dive in, can you briefly present or introduce Crosity to the audience?
Sure. Maybe let's start with the problem. So local communities are struggling with the communication in the digital era. In most villages and cities, maybe you know that local communication is fragmented. Authorities rely on outdated tools like printed bulletins, unstructured websites, or even chaotic notice boards. And that leads that important news, events, and often also opportunities get lost. And the people, they feel uninformed, disconnected with the local community. And that's where Crosity comes in. Crosity is a local and trustworthy communication platform for municipalities and cities. It connects the local government with the residents, with clubs, with local businesses. And that means it's all on one single platform. It's available via app and web. And for local governments, it means real-time communication, higher reach, more efficiency and more trust. And for residents, it means you get access to local and trustworthy information. You get events, you get local goods on the marketplace and in one single place, and without the noise and ads of the global social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and so on. Maybe let's talk something about how we started. We started in 2016 in Zurich. And 2019, we had the first customers in Germany, and these days we have more customers in Germany than in Switzerland. And last year we started in Liechtenstein. And today more than 155 villages and cities are working with us. And they create more than 10,000 user-generated cards per month and really have a strong user base, let's say. Yeah.
Great. We use also Crosity in our villages. It's really great. We sell stuff over the platform as well, so cool. That's a good thing. Hey, let's go back in time for a moment. Before you were joining Growth Academy, what was product market fit? Was it more a buzzword, or what was it for you?
Honestly, it was more of a buzzword, I would say. For sure, we had some KPIs like customer growth or engagement, customer numbers, but in the end, we didn't have a way to really say we have product market fit. It was probably more something like a gut feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. And after going through the program, has your definition of product market fit changed? What does it mean now for you? What is product market fit for you now?
Mm-hmm. I would say it changed a lot. Before the academy, I always thought that product market fit is something you reach once, something like a milestone, and then you can scale. But in the academy, we learned that it doesn't work like that. Looking back, we probably had product market fit in the early years, but the market changed, and so did the customer needs. And today, I would say I see product market fit more as an ongoing process. You have to constantly work on it because the markets are dynamic, and your product has to really develop with these dynamics.
And you're also measuring product market fit all the time and again, right?
Sure, yes.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Crosity grew quite successful during COVID. Can you describe the status of the company before the academy a bit?
So the first week of the first lockdown were crazy. Villages and municipalities were desperately looking for ways to inform the people, and for example, for garbage collection, tax processes, safety manuals, and so on. And on the other side, we had people who really wanted to help, especially younger people, wanted to support vulnerable neighbors. And we took the chance, we reacted quickly, built new features to support those needs. Our team was working on new processes to onboard new customers overnight, but we did one key mistake at this time. We said yes to everyone, and
Okay.
and later on, we found out that that some clients, they paid for the product, but they never really promoted it. That's why the reach was not high. Sure.
Yeah.
And after the pandemic, some of the villages just stopped posting. And there we found out, maybe these are not the right clients for us. And that was happening, and then that led to churn, and the growth slowed down a little bit. And for us, it was frustrating because we didn't really know why that happened.
And you're saying this was also based off a market change, because after COVID things were more going again to normal. The push was not there, and you addressed the wrong.
Exactly.
Wrong. Good. The academy is focusing on implementing a PMF process, right? Was that difficult for you to implement such a process, to constantly analyze your product market and measure product market and take decision on it?
Surprisingly, it was not so difficult. It takes time for sure, but it's not rocket science. In our case, the product market fit survey, it's really straightforward. All in all, it's not about complex data models. It's more about asking the right question to the right customer and really listening. And I think personally, every startup can do that.
It's not everybody can implement it.
Yes.
You said that to having a process in place was a game changer for you. What was now changing? Why it was a game changer for you?
Yeah, maybe before the academy, we mainly focused on the paying customer, the municipalities. And that's important for sure, but we forgot the end users. And with the PMF process, we gathered feedback from both sides. So we received more than 5,000 survey responses from citizens and local governments. And that was a real gold mine for us, for our team. And with that, we really finally understood how users really get value from our platform.
Good. Now let's break it a bit down. You analyze your product market fit, you measure product market fit, you ask the right question. Now you get a better picture of what is really it is. But how influenced it now your strategy? Was it did you have adapt your strategy based on this data and information?
Yes, it had impact on a lot of fields. For example, in the strategy, I would say we changed how we prioritize. We now make decisions based on what really matters to the users and the customers, and not what feels urgent at the moment. In sales, we have an ICP, an ideal customer profile, and that helps us to really talk with the right customers and not just any customer. In product development, that's also important. We used to get a lot of tech feedback, but mostly it was niche. And with that, I said we had more than 5,000 answers in that survey, and that really helped us to see what the majority of the users really need, and that helps us to prioritize the backlog and the sprints. For the team, maybe it means they have more clarity now. They really understand what really matters to the end users, and that's crucial to stay focused. And board meetings, for example, they are more structured, I would say. We are not talking about ideas. We show data that builds trust, and then that leads to better decisions. And maybe for me personally, I would say it gave me more confidence because I have something like a compass in my hand. I know where we are going and why. And that's very helpful.
You were talking about the investment and also the board member. Do they understand what product market fit is? Or is it also a topic you had to educate?
They know it for sure, but we maybe have a little bit a different approach to it.
Yeah, okay, good. Hey, and how is society doing today? What would you say? Are you growing again? Are you again on the growth trajectory?
Yes, definitely. We now have a new strategy. We have a new positioning. We are still working on that. Maybe if you check our website, that's the old one. The new one is coming. And we are focusing on the right customers and the right users. And and this time we know why we are growing, and that's hopefully more sustainable.
It's good to know why you grow.
And the growth is still linear.
Yeah.
I mean, after COVID, before COVID, we were growing exponentially. Then after COVID, it was linear. And we see now a growth again.
Cool. So actually, the discussion was about why every startup needs to have a process in place about product market. What is how do you summarize that? What is the key? Why every startup should have a process like that?
Because product market fit is not a one-time event. You constantly have to work on it. And if you have such a structured process, how you want to achieve product market fit, then you just make better decisions, you stay more focused, and you create a product that really solves the right problems.
Cool. So now the last advices, what would you say, what kind of advice you want to give to the audience?
Take your time with product market fit. Don't rush just to show quick revenue. Talk to your best customers and best users. Try to understand what's their problem. How do they use your product? How do they get value out of it? And once you know who is your ideal customer, then really focus on it and say no to the others. And it's hard, I know. Yeah. But in the long run, it really helps you to keep the churn low, and that helps you to really grow in a more healthier way.
Cool. Good. Hey, great. Thank you so much for being here. Now we have also time for a Q&A session. Who would like to start? Who is the icebreaker? Good. Oh, there are 3 icebreakers. Good, go. Please.
Yes, so
Wait for that. There's a microphone coming. Because it's recorded, so we want to...
Thank you. Is it on?
Yeah, it's perfect. We can hear.
So I was wondering, like, measuring the PMF is one thing.
Yeah.
But what you do if you're not there, and if you have a software product, I suppose you can iterate rather quickly. But if you, let's say, have a hardware, maybe even worse, make it regulated medical technology, and then you see you're not there, but you also, changing will cost you a lot more money and time. So how do you handle that then?
That's a very good question. Thank you very much for that. Important, we define the product, not only the hardware. For us, product is actually everything. It's the messaging, how you approach customer, which kind of customer you are approaching. It's your business model. It's the customer support and also after sales. So actually, you have many elements you can iterate on. And we always say, don't try to adapt first the features, try to shift to another customer group, or maybe you adapt the onboarding process, or you're adapting the problem a bit. You have many ways you can iterate on it. So important, product is not just the features. Okay? Next question over there.
You nicely showed that the product market fit finding phase is typically longer than what we would like it to be.
Yeah. Yes,
but
that's true.
investors don't have the patience to wait 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And you are even saying that the product market fit evolves, so theoretically you can prolong this forever. How do you solve the tension between the the pressure to scale
Yeah.
and getting it right and
Yeah.
talking with the different stakeholders.
This is also a very good question, also a challenge. Investors which are not familiar with the topic of product market tends to push you. They say, like, hey, hire more sales, push more sales, like that. What really helps is two things. Educate them, give them my book. This is one thing you can do. The other thing is, what we also do is, like Joel is doing, use KPIs. We measure product market on 4 dimensions: customer success, repeatability, profitability per customer, and demand. And when you have also this kind of KPIs, you can clearly show why you're not scaling on one side, but you can also show your progress. And the famous Y Combinator is also addressing this topic. They are saying to their startups, show early growth with your startups, then raise a lot of money, but then don't scale. Stay lean, iterate until you have the real feedback from the market. But it's a challenge. We have to educate somehow, and also tell the investors, hey, we're not there. If we scale now, we burn your money. Do you want that? Oh, no, you were first, and then, sorry, Heiko. You get the mic.
Thank you. It was super interesting, and I'm CEO and co-founder of Wasteflow, a startup. So we're exactly in that phase where we're trying to find the right product market fit. So it's very relatable. And the question is, I understand why it's important, but how do you quantify it? How do you make sure you go into the right direction? Because you mentioned surveys, discussion with the customers, but how do you quantify that? How do you make sure that the feedback is honest and useful for you to go into the right direction to design your products and everything that goes around it?
First of all, what is very important is the survey, as I told you. We do that several times a year, and not with all the users. We just do that for the active users. And we have a process to really score the users. And on the other side, we have a customer health score. And it's a bit complicated. I will not go into the details, but that really helps us to see what progress customers do. We combine that with the survey. We do a lot of interviews. That takes a bit time, for sure, because you have to do the interview, then you have to transcribe the things, but you can really use that for the positioning. Then you can measure it, for example, on landing pages, how is the message, how is the click-through rate, and so on. And sales, you can measure the sales cycles and the conversion and so on. And all in one, that gives a big picture. Right, and but even then you have to find your way, sure. But as I said, it's a little bit of a compass. If you ever had a compass in your hand, you recognize that sometimes you move a little bit, and it takes some time to go back, And that's I would describe it like that.
Thank you.
Heiko, yes. Now there's a tough question coming.
No.
I guess so.
Michael, you and I both are in medtech, and both of us preach to work on product market fit early. However, with the long development cycles that we have in our vertical, we certainly don't have a product very early in the process, and sometimes we don't even know the market. For example, AI-based applications, and what do we know what in 1 or 2 years is there? So what do? I encourage the startups that I'm invested in or coach to go early, nevertheless, with a rendering,
Absolutely.
with a cardboard model.
Front-loading.
Product. So do you have some tricks for us to, how do we optimize that? So beyond the renderings.
Yeah, absolutely. You should front-loading your risk a bit. You should address it early on. You have the tendency to work on the product. Somebody told us, hey, it's interesting, so I have to do it now. But it's just one signal. In America, they're saying you have to talk to at least 200 people. And the biggest struggle startups have with product market fit is actually they are addressing a weak problem. It is not too important for the customer. We have all problems. I have a problem with weight, sorry to say. I know that I have this problem, but I'm not really looking for a solution so far. Sorry to say that, huh? But if I wanna go for a marathon, of course, then I'm dressing to lose weight like this. So the first thing is really understand the market, really inside out. Heiko knows I'm the founder of a medtech company, which now in the 14 years of operation. But we did that, actually, we solved a problem of the patients. We were preventing pressure ulcer. But we forgot that we have to solve the problem of the nursing homes. Because a nursing homes get less money if they have good quality of care. You know what I mean? So we were solving the wrong problem. And now the hard fact is you find customer. It's not that we didn't have customer, but the market will never pull. So understanding the problem, testing early on, have a good coach like Heiko. It's also very helpful, which challenge him. He's a promoter of myself, so I promote him also a bit. So no, it's really challenge, and be radically honest with yourself. Yeah. Microphone is coming.
Do you do a joint paid development that kind of you win a key customer and you identify the value that the customer wants to get out of the product, and then you basically commit them for a joint development, and in case you succeed, they commit to buy the product, use the product, and grow together with you? Are you doing things like that? Would you recommend to do that?
You talk to me, or you wanna?
Whoever.
It's a possibility, you know, but you need to make sure that this customer is not unique. This is a very special customer because the boss is a little bit crazy or whatever. So it should, you can develop it, but you want to have a scalable product. A product market means that you not have a product for one customer, for a whole market.
Yeah, but if you look at big tech companies,
Yeah.
they implement the product.
Yeah.
They always pick like the 10 key customers they
Yeah,
have. in
that's
a-
good if you
And
have
then-
10.
And then these customers commit and they
Yeah.
pay also
Yeah.
a little bit
Yeah.
because their requirements result in the solution.
Yeah,
And therefore, they are also willing to invest time or resources or whatever. Are you
absolutely.
recommending that for startups too?
Yeah. Try to find the customer early on, and if they're ready to pay, you have a proof that you're solving a pain. But make sure that it's not one single problem of a single customer. So you know this happens also. Sometimes we find somebody who has a problem, but there's only a few of them. But it's a very good strategy to try to sell something to somebody and get his engagement. Absolutely. Good.
I'm Hetty Samosir, a Master of Finance student at University of Cambridge. I'm also working on my fintech startup. I'm originally from Indonesia. So the co-founder of LinkedIn, Reid Hoffman, put it, if you are not embarrassed by your first product, you have launched too late.
Yeah.
So I talk also to my friends who build the tech products, and they were so embarrassed with their first launch or products. And would you agree to that MVP approach? Is it aligned with your philosophy?
Absolutely. Go out. It's hard the first time. You know, when we're building up the Growth Academy, what we try to do is just we published it and we realized that we got 100 registration for the Growth Academy. So we realized there is a pain, a need. But then 2 months later, we started the academy. But we didn't have a plan. The models were not ready there. You go out and try out things like that. Don't listen now. He was part of it. But you're evolving. You learn from your customer. Customer interaction is so important. And like Joel has said, try soon to understand which is the right customer for this product. Not everyone is good for you, and not everyone will be happy with your product. And this is the most important thing we try to find out in the beginning. Who is the one which really desperate for your solution, and you can also help him to solve it. At the end, product market fit is quite simple. You have to create value for your customer. If you create a lot of value for your customer, they will love us, they will love you, they will recommend you, and then you hire a great sales expert like Manuel is, and he pushes everything up, and you will be successful. Good. Hey, thank you very much. It's a real pleasure to have you. Think about product market fit. And if you have any question, come to us. We are there.